Okay, there it is. I mean, that's what you wanted, right? There's 4 in a row, beat the Stanley Cup champs, the whole deal. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers, Pirates in the same place that you found this. Penguins 5, Panthers 4 in overtime, obligatory big blown lead in the third period and all. But if the team's getting good at anything, it's blowing 3-goal leads in the third period and then pulling it out in OT. And I'm only partially kidding because they did exactly that against the Sharks just a couple of weeks ago. Now, of course, the Panthers aren't the Sharks. The Panthers are the Panthers. And they came into this city on a 3-game winning streak of their own. They had been playing a good bit better, and it's not like they played badly. They had an 81-46 advantage in shot attempts. That's a whole lot of territory. What they didn't have was Sergei Bobrovsky in net. They had Spencer Knight. I thought Knight was terrible. And I thought early on Tristan Jarry made a couple of saves. And then, well, listen, I'll first hand the mic over here figuratively to Brian Rust. This was what Rust had to say after the game. And bear in mind, Rust's one of those truth-teller types.
A win's a win. Obviously, it wasn't our finest game, and we let them back into the game, but that's a really good team. Give them credit again. Jars was incredible tonight. Made some huge saves for us. It was a fun way to get done.
Okay, good for him. He had the OT winner as well, so he's feeling good about everything. He took the pass, the head man from Yevgeny Malkin. It was a 2-on-1 with him and Erik Karlsson. The pass was totally taken away, and Rust shot it, and Knight had just he wasn't even close to stopping that shot. And again, Penguins win, all right? 4 in a row, good stuff. But here's where I stand on this, and maybe this will surprise you, I don't know. Maybe it won't. When I see this game as a whole, I don't feel as if the Panthers dominated it. And I've made my stance clear many, many times on hockey's allegedly advanced analytics. They're anything but advanced. It's just shot attempts. That's all anybody has. The most diehard, digging deep analyst of this sport doesn't have anything concrete to stand upon without, sitting there and splicing the film yourself, other than shots or shot attempts. To my eyes, the Penguins did mostly a good job of keeping those shots to areas that weren't going to hurt them, meaning the initial shots. They weren't great on the rebounds. They're never great whenever they start getting disorganized, which is what shots can do to you. They have to become better at that as a team. I also felt like the Penguins didn't waste as many shots as they could have in the far end. If you're facing a goaltender like Knight, who in fairness came in with a decent .911 save percentage, you got to be doing a lot more of what Chris Letang did when he just basically blasted that puck on net for no reason from the far right boards. That's the way you have to treat a goaltender like that. It's disrespectful, okay? That's what you need to be, is disrespectful. They didn't do enough of that, so that would account partly for the imbalance in the shot attempts. In general, and this is the part where, we might disagree or whatever, but that's okay. It's just hockey talk. I thought the Penguins kept up a pretty good pace with these guys, considering who they are, what they are. I thought the home team stayed on its collective toes. I wasn't expecting that. I thought the home team was conscientious, at least as much as they're capable of being conscientious, all over the rink. And I thought, here comes the part where you bite my head off, I thought the Penguins were just a big save or two away in the third period from having this be a really boring outcome. And a boring period, for that matter. But they didn't get that save, and then they just kept going and kept going. But even then, they kept their resolve, their resilience, which you heard Rust talking about there. They went into overtime with a clean slate. And all of that's good. All of that's a positive. All of that's, They're working their way back toward making something of this season. And let's not kid each other here. A lot of what we'd been seeing before this 4-game winning streak was the result of, I don't know if you want to call it a lousy attitude, but they were weak. I mean, the first bad thing would happen to them and then they would fall apart. And I guess to an extent you could say that about the blown 3-goal lead in this one, except that, I'm going to be the unpopular one and point out again that all you needed was one big save in there. And you didn't get any, and instead they pop 3 goals on you in 10 minutes. But there's more that's needed. There's more that's needed. Jesse Puljujarvi needs to get back in this lineup. I'm tired of making that point. I could do it every day. And, I actually just might. It's crazy to me that he's not playing. And I don't want to hear anything about the alleged defensive aces or penalty killers who are keeping him out. Not when I see Nola Chari standing in the low slot on one of Florida's third-period goals, not picking up anybody. To the Matt Grzelcyk thing. Okay, another thing I can just bring up day after day after day, but it's his giveaway early on that leads to Florida's first goal. Stop that. Just stop that. Find somebody somewhere to take his place. And the third thing, here I go again, but you're the one who pressed play on this program, so you got to deal with the repercussions. Get your old Blomqvist up here and start winning some games. Meaning start winning them in a more conventional way. Start winning them as if above average saves with decent leads are to be expected. Whether that's Tristan Jarry or Alex Nedeljkovic or Blomqvist or whoever, that's a reasonable expectation of that position. I don't care what you do in the first period. Tom Barrasso once worded it better than any goaltender ever, and that was this. It's not about the saves you make, it's about the goals you give up. You can't be giving up 3 in a 10-minute span when you have a 3-goal lead in the third period. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season. From Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
Abandoned ship, Bob. Sell the team. Are you a Pirates fan who is angry or apathetic about our perennial losing baseball team? Do you feel helpless because you don't know how to make a difference? Well, good news. We have something you can do about it. Join our Sell the Team movement. We're a group of passionate fans voicing our frustration and demanding change through billboard campaigns, press outreach, protests, and involvement at local city government meetings. Go to OurTeamNotHis.com to get involved.
Today's J1Q comes from Chris, who says, DK, there's so much fun to be had from just a decent team, and all of a sudden the Penguins look good. What freaking switch got flipped? Well, I might have another answer that no one's going to want to hear, Chris. I don't know that a switch has been flipped. I'm still not there. I'm still not seeing what I want to see from this team. And by that, I don't mean to inflate whatever mine or anybody else's expectations should be of this group. It's not a great roster, all right? But it's better than this. It's capable of performing more soundly, more consistently, and even in some ways more dynamically than it is right now. And I would hope that that's seen as a good thing. I'd hope that that would be seen as, all right, I mean, they're capable of something that's a little bit better than what, how did you put it here? There's so much fun to be had from just a decent team. Yeah, but they don't have to be decent. They don't have to be. They still have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang, all of whom, by the way, had nice roles in this game. They have a Marcus Pettersson who, his Bobby Orr venture aside last night, has gotten back to being his best self. They have Erik Karlsson looking a lot more like at least what they'd fairly anticipated they'd get from Karlsson at this stage of his career. They have Rickard Rakell with double-digit goals. Got on his knees last night to block a shot and then cleared the puck from his knees up into orbit, too. It was really cool. They have some talent. They have some significant talent on this team. What they need to do is to account for the shortcomings that they have on defense and the shortcomings that they have in goal. So if there's a magic wand that Kyle Dubas can wave and pull out of his hat the defensive version of Philip Tomasino and bring in someone like that, that'd be awesome. Or he could do something as simple, and Mike Sullivan would obviously be involved in this, as putting Ryan Graves back in the lineup instead of Matt Grzelcyk. Graves had a really short, rough stretch, and he has paid quite the price for it. Why? Because of old-fashioned coaching, meaning Sullivan can't possibly change his lineup since they've won 4 in a row, which is, I'm sorry, that's just weird. I get it in playoffs to an extent, because you've got everybody, kind of peeking out when you get into the postseason. But this? No. Get Jesse Puljujärvi back in there. I don't care who comes out. Take Acharya out. Take Nieto out. Teach Jesse how to kill penalties. I don't care. He has to be out there. Get Grzelcyk out of there. And yeah, I'm going to say it again. Blomqvist needs to be in the NHL. Blomqvist is an NHL goaltender right now, and he's better than either of the 2 goaltenders currently in Pittsburgh. So if you want to take this 4-game winning streak and you want to move it to the next level, and I don't just mean in terms of the results, I mean in terms of the quality of the hockey that you're playing overall. If you want to get past just beating somebody else's backup goaltender, if you want to get past this wretched phase, which, by the way, for the most part, continues of blowing these leads, these big leads, then go right ahead and get serious. Bring Blomqvist up. Don't worry about the trade value, this or that, or somebody might want to take Jari's contract or any of that other kind of stuff. If you're playing for what's right in front of you, and I don't know how you don't do that when you've won 4 in a row, what stops you from bringing the 22-year-old goaltender up from the AHL? That's how old Matt Murray was when the Penguins won their first cup with him. Did Murray strike anybody as not being mature enough to handle it? No, of course not. Does Blomqvist strike anybody that way? Wow, no, not at all. No one's going to take Acharya off your hands. No one's going to take Nieto off your hands. No one's going to take Jari off your hands. No one's going to even think twice about taking Grzelcyk off your hands. Put your best players out there. Put your best players out there. Then you'll have an idea of what's actually happening right now. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. Going to do another one of these tomorrow and then head on up to New York to cover Penguins versus Rangers at Madison Square Garden.